If you are in your 20s, you find yourself here. If you are in your 30s, you are approximately at this point. And for those in their 50s, they are about here. But what is that? This is your life. In this video, we will explore 6 lessons from the book 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman that will help us reconsider our time management from a slightly different perspective. Are you ready? So, let's go. Lesson number 1. You will not have enough time for everything. Even if we often try to prevent it, there are still 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week, 12 months a year, and round about 4,000 weeks in our lives. To accomplish all these tasks, I would need a day with 30 hours. I'm sure that the most of us say these things at least once a week. Yet, according to Oliver, the real problem is not that our time is limited. It's the idea about how we use this limited time. Most of us spend our time working towards a specific future point in the time, the moment when all tasks are finally completed. However, this leaves us in an anxious anticipation of whether things will unfold as we hope. We evaluate each moment primarily based on its usefulness for some future goal, as if steering towards an oasis where no tasks or responsibilities exist. Don't get me wrong, for some fortunate individuals this may be true, although I strongly doubt the existence of a place entirely free from tasks or responsibilities. For most of us, however, this place becomes a mirage that no matter how quickly we move, always remains at the same distance. This leads us to believe that at some point in the future, we could have control over our time, providing a momentary relief. Unfortunately, the reality is a bit more painful. We probably won't have enough time for everything we want to do. This means we have to make difficult decisions, yet often we aren't the best at making such tough choices in an attempt to postpone them. This part of the book personally resonated with me. At the beginning of last year, I listed so many things I wanted to focus on throughout the year, including launching a YouTube channel, creating content and writing scripts, which has now become a priority for me. However, several months later, I already know that I won't fulfill most things on my list. To be honest, looking back, I have very few memories of last year. I realized that I spent most of my time writing and working on the scripts, building more knowledge. Yes, it's a lot of work, don't get me wrong, I don't regret it at all, because it fulfills me. But it also made me realize that time is indeed very limited, and most things on my list won't be accomplished. So I had to decide what I ultimately wanted to pursue. Well, maybe this year. Lesson number 2, the only way to make it happen. There is a well-known little story about pebbles in a glass that is often used as a great illustration of how we should manage our tasks. However, it has a significant flaw for the most of us. A teacher asks his students how they would insert pebbles, rocks, and sand into a large glass container. The students begin by putting the pebbles and sand first, only to realize that there is no room left for the larger rocks. After some time, the teacher shows them the solution. Start with the big rocks, then the pebbles, and finally add the sand. The smaller items fit comfortably into the space between the larger ones. The problem is that the most of us have very little sand, a few pebbles, and the rest are usually rocks. On top of that, we try to squeeze our own life tasks and activities into it. So, what now? Oliver Burkeman says that we won't find time for our most valuable activities if we first deal with all other important tasks, hoping that there will be some time left at the end of the day. This can be disappointing if we really want to pursue all our activities, whether it's working on our own project, reading a book, or doing anything else. Then the only way to ensure it happens is to simply do some of it today, no matter how little or how many big rocks are waiting. Coach Jessica Abel says there won't be a future moment when magically everything will be finished, and then we'll have a lot of free time. She suggests scheduling a meeting with ourselves in the calendar to protect this time block for the project or activities we want to work on. Let's be honest, if we just tell ourselves that we'll do it later today, we probably won't. So, if you plan to spend some of your 4,000 weeks doing what matters to you, you just have to start at some point. So, why not now? However, we still need to be cautious about certain habits we tend to fall into, and that's precisely what we'll delve into in the upcoming lesson. So, stay tuned. Lesson number 3, you pay with your life. On a Friday in April 2016, about 3 million people spent 44 minutes of their day Watching two guys on the internet put rubber bands around a watermelon. After 44 minutes and adding the 686th rubber band, the watermelon exploded, leaving a mess in the entire room. The two presenters in the video high-fived each other and had a bit of the watermelon. And that's it. 3 million people spend nearly an hour watching a watermelon exploding on the internet. We easily allow ourselves to be distracted by things we never intended to focus on. How many of those 3 million people woke up that day thinking, oh, it's the perfect day to spend 45 minutes watching a watermelon on my screen? In this book, Oliver Burkeman also tells us that there were many comments saying things like, now I've been watching this whole time, what I'm doing with my life, or I wanted to stop watching but I was already invested. Psychologist Timothy Wilson calculated that we can consciously attend to only 0.004% of the information our brain is confronted with at any given time, making attention a limited resource. However, Oliver doesn't view attention as a resource like food or money that makes life easier. He sees attention as life itself. Our experience of life is merely the sum of everything to which we have given our attention. So, when we direct our attention to something we don't particularly value or that is unimportant, we are essentially paying for it with our life. Lesson 4. Limit your work. Okay, my time is limited, so I must start multiple projects at the same time. Sounds absurd, right? But we often think this way. Somehow it even gives us a good feeling, as if we are making progress on multiple fronts at the same time. However, in reality, we usually reach a point where we are making no progress on any front, because every time a project becomes challenging, requires making decisions, or forces us to do hard work, we can simply and comfortably switch to another project without feeling really bad about it. After all, we are still working, right? This gives us the illusion of control, but in the end, we don't complete anything truly important. Lesson number 5. Decide where you will fail. When we give something our best effort and dedicate 100% of our attention, unavoidable a byproduct will emerge, something in which we simply won't stand out during that time, and that's entirely okay. It's because we are using our time and energy more effectively. The American author John Acuff suggests that if we can't accomplish everything, we feel ashamed and give up. However, if we proactively decide where we are likely to fail, we remove the feeling of shame from the equation. Perhaps you won't be able to beat your friends at golf when you start a new project because you don't have enough time and energy to train, or maybe your kitchen looks like a bomb went off. That's okay, you're definitely not alone. Life is cyclical. Now you are focused more on starting your own project, developing a skill, or spending time with your family. After that, you can switch back to what you've neglected. This is less stressful than trying to cram everything into a single day, giving each thing some attention and time and calling it work-life balance. Oliver suggests that it's better to live in a conscious imbalance, knowing that what you're currently below average in will soon receive its due attention. Lesson number 6. The Businessman and the Fisher. There's a story mentioned in the book that really caught my attention, and I'd love to hear your interpretation, so please leave your comments under the video. A businessman from New York is on a vacation on the Mexican coast, where he meets a local fisherman. The businessman asks him about his work, and the fisherman tells him that he works only a few hours a day and spends the rest of the day in the town having fun with his friends. The businessman thought about it and gave the fisherman an advice. If he spent more time working, he could invest the profits in a larger fleet or boats, hire people to fish for him, become rich, and retire early. The fisherman then asks, "And what would I do then?" The businessman responds, "Well, then you could spend your days with your friends and family and have fun." The irony of the story is that the fisherman is already doing these things and is fulfilled with the things happening in his life at the moment. I really like the story because it illustrates that what we want might be closer than we think. We often spend a lot of time chasing after things, and because we are so busy, we might not see that what we are looking for is right in front of us. We sometimes focus so much on external goals and the desire for more that we overlook that what truly fulfills us may already be present in our current lives. Thank you for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you learned something new today. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so I can bring up more life-changing ideas for you. So take care, and until the next time here on my channel.